Good morning, Math BH. We're going to be doing absolute value functions today. So you have out your PDF, or you're doing electronically, or you just have a piece of paper. And here we go. All right, use the following equation, y equals the absolute value of x, to complete the following. Complete the table of values. So we have to remember an absolute value means whatever inside the absolute value, you need to make it positive. So -4 would turn into +4. And here we have to think. What would have been inside? To get a 1, we could have had a 1, or we could have had a -1. To get a 0, we would have had a 0. If we put in 1, we're going to get out 1. If we put in 4, we're going to get out 4. So we looked at it as a table. We can also look at it as a mapping. Remember, in a mapping, we don't repeat our values, and we go from the smallest to the largest. So -4 is going to go first, then -1. Then 0, 1, and 4. On my y values, I'm going from 0, 1, and 4. We don't repeat our numbers. And then we have to do our arrows. -4 map to 4. -1 map to 1. 0 map to 0. 1 map to 1. And 4 map to 4. And then we can look at it and think, is it a function or not? Yes. For every x value, it is only mapping to one y value. We don't have two arrows coming off of an x value. So we can see we do have a function. Okay, we're going to graph it. So we're going to plot our points. So at -4, I'm up at 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, put a little dot. At -1, I'm at 1. At 1, I'm at 1. At 0, I'm at 0. At 4, I'm at 4. Then I put my line through that. Here it's positive, so it's going up. Here, everything, it used to be a line, but it got rotated, it got reflected up. So now it's a V because all my negative values went reflecting up. So I can think of it like this. It used to be a line. It used to extend like this part, but then this all got flipped up, which made the V. Okay, explain in words why the graph y equals the absolute value 8 creates a V shape, because it's part of it's a line where half of it got reflected up. So I got my text. It started as a line where all the negative y values reflected over the x-axis. Okay, is the equation a function? So we have to think, does it pass the vertical line test on my graph? Yes, I see it passes the vertical line test. On my mapping, every input goes to one unique output. There's no double arrows coming off of one of the inputs, so we can see, yes, it is a function. You can put either reason. So here I'm going to put yes, it passes the vertical line test. All right, number 2. The graphs y equals the absolute value of x and y equals half the absolute value of x minus 2 are shown below. Complete the following. Explain in words how the graphs are similar. Well, they're both absolute value graphs, so they both have a V shape. They both have a V shape. Okay, explain how they're different. Okay, well, I see their slopes are different. One slope is a half and one slope is 1. And their vertex, where it flips, where the bottom of the V flips around, that's different too. the slopes are different. Also, the bottom of the V is at a different location. So I want to know, how is it shifted? So when I look over here at where the bottom of the V is, I see that this is being shifted 2 to the right. It went over 2, okay? And then it got flatter. So y equals 1/2 the absolute value. Where's my absolute value? Oh, there it is. The absolute value of x minus 2 is shifted horizontally 2 units right. Okay. Number 3, without graphing, make a prediction. So here on the outside of the graph, this one's negative and this one's positive. So here, this is going to make all our answers negative. So it's going to flip it upside down. The graph will flip upside down. All right, so let's just double check it here. My absolute value of 4 would be 4. And my absolute value of 1 would be 1. My absolute value of 0 would be 0. My absolute value of negative 1 would be 1. And my absolute value of negative 4 would be 4. But here I have to make it negative. So I have to take the absolute value of negative 4, which would be 4, and then make it negative. So this would be negative 4. Take the absolute value of negative 2, which would be 2, and make it negative. So that would be negative 2. This would stay 0. Take the absolute value of 2, which would be 2, and make it negative. So this would be negative 2. Take the absolute value of 4 and make it negative. That would be negative 4. Okay, so we're graphing down below. Okay, so my first one, I'm going to stick with the blue. We'll make that one the blue. So at 4, I'm at 4. At 1, I'm at 1. At 0, I'm at 0. At negative 1, I was at 1. At negative 4, I was at 4. I'm going to draw my graph. Okay, and the next one, I'm going to make orange. At negative 4, I'm at negative 4. At negative 2, I'm at negative 2. At 0, I'm at 0. At 2, I'm at negative 2. At 4, I'm at negative 4. And I see that I just got flipped. I got reflected over the x-axis. This is my y equals negative absolute value of x. And this one is my y equals the absolute value of x. Okay, what was your prediction correct? Yes. How is the graph y equals x being transformed? It's being reflected about the x-axis. All right, moving on. Again, if I'm going too fast for you, you can always flip the page. Okay, without graphing, make a prediction of how y equals the absolute value of x plus 2 will differ from y equals the absolute value of x. So I know this is some kind of shift, and I'm going to go back up and think about what happened earlier. Here, when it was -2, I went to the right. So I'm going to guess if it's +2, I'm going to go to the left. So it will be horizontally shifted. Two units to the left. Now that is often not intuitive for people, but you have to think here, what makes this 0 is when x equals 0. What makes this 0? What makes this 0 is when x equals -2. So my bottom vertex is going to move to -2, which means it's shifting to the left. So here we're going to go ahead and complete our tables and double check it. So -4, I have to go -4 plus 2 is -2, -4 plus 2 is -2, and the absolute value of -2 is 2. -2 plus 2 is 0, and the absolute value of 0 is 0. 0 plus 2 is 2, and the absolute value of 2 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4, and the absolute value of 2 is 4. 4 plus 2 is 6, and the absolute value of 6 is 6. On the same corner above, graph it. So moving back up the screen. At -4, I would be at 2. I'm trying to type on there. -4, I would be at 2. At -2, I would be at 0. At 0, I would be at 2. At 2, I would be at 4. Okay, so I'm making it my graph there. And I see that I just got scooted over to the left by 2. Okay, so was my prediction correct? Yes. Without graphing, make a prediction about how y equals the absolute value of x plus 3 will differ from the graph. Well, look, they're adding 3 to every value, so I'm shifting up 3. It will be vertically shifted. Up 3. Okay, so here we're going to go ahead and double check it. -2, absolute value of -2 is 2, and I add 3, and now I'm at 5. The absolute value of -1 is 1. 1 plus 3 is 4. The absolute value of 0 is 0. 0 plus 3 is 3. The absolute value of 1 is 1. 1 plus 3 is 4. The absolute value of 2 is 2. 2 plus 3 is 5. Plot my points. -2, 5. -1, 4. 0, 3. 1, 4. 2, 5. I make my graph and I say, hey, it's the same slope. It just got pushed up 3. Label your line. Y equals the absolute value of x plus 3. Okay, was your prediction correct? Yes. All right, so now I'm going to think about the next one. So here, the 4 in the front, that is going to mess with my slope. This messes with your slope. And the -3 at the end, that's going to shift me down 3. Okay, so I can look at the equation and know what's going to happen. Or I can make a chart and plot points. So the absolute value of -2 is 2. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 minus 3 is 5. The absolute value of -1 is 1. 1 times 4 is 4. 4 minus 3 is 1. The absolute value of 0 is 0. 0 times 4 is 0. 0 minus 3 is -3. The absolute value of 1 is 1. 1 times 4 is 4. 4 minus 3 is 1. The absolute value of 2 is 2. 2 times 8. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 minus 3 is 5. Okay, they want us to graph above, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I gotta scroll back up. Okay, so at -2, I'm at 5. At -2, I'm at 5. At -1, I'm at 1. At 0, I'm at -3. At 1, I'm at 1. At 2, I'm at 5. And I look, whoa, this got way skinnier. And the bottom vertex dropped down. And label it y equals 4, absolute value of x minus 3. Okay, now we have to explain it. Explain in words how the graph differs from the graph. So the 4 created a steeper slope. And the -3 on the outside shifted, I should say vertically shifted the graph down 3. Okay, so I want you to try number 10. So pause the video and try number 10 and see what you came up with. All right, I filled it in my table. I said the 1/4 will make it less steep, and the -1 side will shift it horizontally right 1. So I look, my V is really flat, and it shifted to the right 1. Okay, so in general, my A is my slope, my H causes horizontal movement, and my K causes vertical movement. So when K is positive, the graph will be shifted up. When K is negative, the graph will be shifted down. When A is negative, we're going to get it flipped upside down. It's upside down, reflection over the x-axis. When the value of A is positive, it'll be right side up, right side of V. When A increases, this is the slope, so when it increases, we get it to be steeper. When it decreases, it is less steep. Okay, so A controls the slope. K controls the vertical shift. And H controls the horizontal shift. Okay, so here we're looking and we are explaining in words what happened. So I want you to pause the video, try 12, 13, 14, and 15, and then we'll get back together and talk about it. All right, check your answers. Here, I saw a -6 inside, so I have to think, what makes this 0? What makes this 0 is +6, so it's getting moved to +6. So it's vertical shift, right 6. Over here, this -8 on the outside is controlling the slope. The negative is going to flip it upside down, and the 8 is going to make it steeper. Okay, over here, the 1/5 is going to make it less steep because it's controlling the slope. The +7 is going to shift everything up 7, so vertically shifted up 7. On 15, the 4 is going to make us steeper because it's controlling the slope. Here, we have to think about what makes this go to 0. What makes it go to 0 is -2. So it's shifted to the left 2, and then it's vertically shifted down 9. All right, so now you're going to read the description and you are going to try to come up with the equation. So pause the video, go ahead and check it, and then turn it back on and check your answers. Okay, for 16, I got y equals the absolute value of x plus 5 minus 12. So shift it to the left 5. That means we need to, what makes this go to 0, x plus 5 would be negative 5. So that's where we have to put the plus 5. I know it's the opposite. That sounds kind of silly, but that's what it is. So this is the left 5. This just looks like 15. That's the left 5. Okay, and then down 12 units, so that's the minus 12. That's the down part. Okay, next one. The equation of the graph is shifted 4 units from y equals the absolute value of x minus 4. So I had to add 4 to the negative 5. Adding 4 to the negative 5 got me the negative 1. Next one. The graph is shifted to the right 2. So I had to subtract 2 from what's inside. And opens down, so I had to put the negative, and then it's steeper. So I just had to pick a number that's bigger than 1. Again, you could put a 3 or a 4 or a 5. It wouldn't matter as long as it's bigger than 1. Okay? The equation of the graph is shifted to the left 6, so I had to add 6 to the 2, and shifted down from the 3, so I had to subtract 8 from the 3, and that's where I got y equals the absolute value of x plus 8 minus 5. All right, you are done with your lesson. So now go on and do your homework, and I will see you next time.